I wasn't fooled by this. I never assumed that the Kingdom Come Deliverance guys were based. I was always speaking out about this. People need to stop putting Western developers on a pedestal. I've been saying this for years. It really has nothing to do with their political leanings or what they say or do on Twitter. Like, the reality of the situation is they cannot produce good games. And this is a really, really good example of why the grifters cannot be trusted. What am I talking about? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? Everyone was doing the thing they always do where they promote the game like, oh, it's the most anti-woke thing ever. Oh, the developer is so based. Oh, oh, man, Bohemia, 15th century. Oh, no black people. Oh, like, people legit got excited over the idea that there wouldn't be black people in this RPG. It's just like... It's just the most insane, just insidious thing. Like, forget about the gameplay, the mechanics, the setting, the features. Like, oh, that's what matters to me. Like, no melanin in this skin. It's just like, what? Like, this is what you get excited over, really. So, of course, people like Grummz thought this was a huge win over like the SJWs, like, oh man, look at this white game with white people like doing this and doing things. It's like, oh, it's the most base thing ever. Like, never mind the fact the game is extraordinarily niche. Never mind the fact it really has nothing going for it other than like the anti-woke like support for it. Never mind like just the obvious red flags that are pretty apparent if you actually play the game, right? Never mind the reality of the situation, that we've seen this happen before, and it always results in the same thing. By the time the sequel comes around, there are suddenly a lot more gays, there are a lot more black people, and there's a lot more women in positions of power that they shouldn't be in. It's the same story every single time. This happened in Ghost of Tsushima. This happened with The Last of Us Part 2 to a certain extent. Assassin's Creed Shadows, right? Like, it's the circle of wokeness, right? The industry pretends something isn't woke to sell it to people, and then like there's this big bait and switch, like, oh, but it was woke all along. See the Stellar Blade costumes. Like, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, I don't understand why so many people were straight up like hoodwinked, bamboozled, fooled into thinking this game was going to be anything to write home about, into thinking this was going to be some spectacular thing that I don't know, like, made white people great again. Like I don't know, because that's what I want in a game, right? Is for like, it's just, what were you thinking? And they lean so hard into this idea that, like, oh, there's no black people in this. Like, look at this loading screen. Oh, all these rumors of this black guy in this game are unfounded. Like, please ignore the screenshot. Please ignore the fact that game journals are talking about how diverse the game is. Like, please stop noticing things. And that's the thing that really gets me about this, and gets me about like Grummz coming to do damage control, is that like the people who are upset about this were in denial that this was going to be an issue for months, because like there were obvious red flags that like something was going to happen in regards to like this game. Like, we knew that the devs had sold out. We knew that people were gunning for this. Like, we knew this. And, like, the possibility was always there. And yet, people like Grummz, like, no, there's nothing wrong with this. Oh, this is, like, good diversity. Like, what? It's just a gigantic cope. And it really needs to be, like, said, Like when it comes to Grummz specifically, because I do think this is the thing that really needs to be acknowledged. This is actually the reason why I'm making this video, because this isn't about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Okay, this isn't about the Western gaming development scene. This isn't about like anything Vavra has said. This isn't about like the wokies or the anti-wokies. Like, it's about Grummz, because this grifter is sitting there doing damage control for a developer that he has nothing to do with. You know, for a developer who did something that they specifically said they weren't going to do because of historical integrity, right? You know, like, again, it's the same thing with Stellar Blade. Like, oh no, that wasn't censorship. It's like, what? You bluster and you whine and you complain, and then, like, at the end of the day, what happens? Like, no, please come out and support this mediocre game because it's good enough, you know? Like, it's just like, who are you trying to fool? And this is, like, the typical pattern when it comes to this kind of thing. Again, like, we really need to, like, establish... Again, this is how low IQ the anti-wokies are, because I've seen this pattern since, like, The Last of Us came out, you know? The idea... This is, like, the typical Hollywood, like, woke thing. Like, they produce an initial entry-level thing that's relatively woke-free. You know, there's maybe some woke stuff near the end where most people won't see it or won't pay attention to it or won't care or whatever, right? They do that, and then they ramp it up with the sequel and then say, like, well, the original was always woke, and you enjoyed that. You know, Red Dead Redemption was like that. Grand Theft Auto was like, again, like, this has been happening for years, and I don't understand why people keep getting invested in these developers and these series when they keep doing this over and over and over again. Like, just play better video games, you know? Like, and again, that's the thing, like, that really gets me about this, is that, like, there are so many better video games out there from better developers. Good luck getting Grummz to even acknowledge they exist. You know, that's the big thing about this. Like, there have been so many games over the past year that I've really, really loved and enjoyed. You know, Mario and Luigi Brothership, Echoes of Wisdom, you know, Emiya the Smiling Man. Like, according to people in Grummz' circle, Echoes of Wisdom is woke because you play as Zelda. You know, like, Emiya the Smiling Man is censored. You know, like, Brothership is, I don't even know what they say about Brothership. You know, like, but it's like, why are all the legitimately good games getting downplayed and ignored while shit like Kingdom Come Deliverance is, like, put on a pedestal? Even after the supposed reason that it was put on top of the pedestal to begin with is proven to be a complete and utter farce. You know, like, I don't care about Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't want to hear about it again. I'm not going to support the game. You know, it just needs to be understood. Like, why can we not just come to terms with the fact that the Western gaming space is never going to produce anything of quality? Like, that is the number one thing that should be on everyone's mind right now. I don't care what Westerners do in video games.